Hi guys, so my article is Why Other Countries Teach Better by the editorial board of New York Times, and it's about why other countries are doing better educationally than the US. The authors incorporate a lot of ethos and logos into the article, and they begin by including a survey by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is a global policy organization also known as the OECD. And in the survey, it states that adults in the U.S. scored far below average and better than only 2 of the 12 comparison countries, which was Italy and Spain. And the survey highlights how the U.S. isn't doing as strongly education-wise, and also if the U.S. wants to remain competitive, then they're going to have to improve the education system. And the article gives 3 main reasons why the U.S. is starting to lag behind, and they also include a country to compare to. The first reason is teacher training programs, and the article states that Finland leads most of the world, including the U.S., ever since they moved preparation out of teachers' colleges and into universities, where it became a lot more rigorous. And teachers are also the most popular and most competitive occupation in Finland. And it states that in 2010, 6,000 applicants competed for 660 available primary school preparation slots in the 8 Finnish universities that educate teachers. And later on, it also states that in the U.S., only 10% of the 1,200 teacher preparation programs were rated as high quality, and this demonstrates how in other countries, teachers are a very competitive and rigorous occupation, and in the U.S., the teacher training preparation programs aren't doing as strongly as it should be if the United States wants to compete against other countries. And the second reason is school funding, and the authors use Canada. They state that Americans rely far too heavily on property taxes, which causes the wealthy districts to have a lot more money than the less wealthy districts, and that the state money to make up for the gap usually falls short. And in Canada, they use a province-level funding system, which is a formula that determines how much money each district receives based on its size and needs. And also, it evens out the tax base and ensures that the districts get the money that they need and that it's distributed equally. And the third reason is fighting elitism, and they use Shanghai. And the authors state that in China, they moved away from an elitist system, which is where greater resources and elite instructors were given to the favored schools, and now they pair up the stronger schools and the weaker schools, and they also switch some of the teachers out between the schools, and that students of diverse backgrounds and different abilities are all educated the same. And the authors conclude this article by including a statement from the OECD, which acknowledges the impressive gains that less wealthy countries have made, catching up from very low levels of performance. And this illustrates how more developed countries and less developed countries are continuing to advance their education, and if the U.S. doesn't improve their education system, then other countries are going to surpass the U.S. and also threaten the U.S.'s economic power. So to make this video more creative, I asked a couple people where they would rank the U.S. on a scale of 1 to 30, with 1 being the best and 30 being the worst, involving international math test scores, and this is what they said. On a scale of 1 to 30, with 1 being the best and 30 being the worst, regarding international math test scores, where would you rank the U.S. and why?
Go ahead, Alina. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 30, 1 being the best, I would rank the U.S. maybe in the lower 20s, like 22nd or 23rd, maybe 24th, because Alina, why do you
Because, okay, I would say like 25 or 26, just
That's
a
a
little
little-
bit
that's a
over
little
what Bra
extreme.
said. Because, I don't know, I feel like the education system in America isn't extremely, like, efficient. I know there's like tons of stuff going on in big cities with charter schools, and now that we're conforming to the Common Core, I think that we're gonna get better. But like, America's just stupid. Like, people know us as stupid. We're very ignorant culture-wise and education-wise. I think we can definitely improve. And like, more than 50% of Americans can't pass a U.S. citizenship test, so stupid. He agrees.
We're supposed to be much better though.
27 because we're not the best,
gets number
but
one?
30 is a little, yeah.
25, because we're stupid.
I recently said 27, but I revoke it, put in a 25.
Okay, so I know like I'm being asked this question because the United States probably isn't one, so I'm just gonna guess like for like the sake of trying to get the question right, I'm gonna go with like 5 to 8. But in reality, I think the United States is smarter than any other country there is, no matter what anybody says. There's no one smarter than the United States. And you might say like, oh, that's so like ignorant. And no, it's not ignorant. No one's smarter than the United States in my opinion. So that's my opinion. It's never wrong.
Oh my goodness, no. That is so inaccurate. Are you kidding me? The United States is stupid. Oh my goodness. We are, not we, you Americans are so terrible, and that is such a naive thing to say. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We British, we have One Direction, we have the Spice Girls,
say something?
we have Queen, we
Can
have
I-
the Beatles,
can I
we
say
have
something?
Passenger,
Can I say
we have
something?
Bastille, Pompeii.
I'm just saying, like, proof of America being the smartest is, like, all the other countries have, like, dumb accents, but, like, the United States just sounds the best. And, like,
America has people to do my nails.
Did you know that more than 50%
like,
of
that's exactly
Americans,
why we're smarter.
more than 50% of Americans cannot pass an American citizenship exam?
Did you know that that's bull?
I think the U.S. would be like around 10 lower, because like although we're like a really smart country, I feel like that's not representative of our entire population. Like, we have a lot of people who maybe aren't so smart. Even though we do have a lot of people who are smart, I feel like that's like there are more people who don't know math to the level that this test probably did test at. Like, a lot of people know simple math, but they don't know like trigonometry and like calculus and stuff. And I feel like that is where the U.S. would lose a lot of points and make us lower on the chart.
So my questions for you guys are, where would you rank the U.S. on this scale and why? And if you guys want to see where the U.S. actually ranks, then you guys can go on the article, and on the left-hand side, there'll be a little scale where you can see where the U.S. ranks. And the second question is, do you think that the U.S. would still remain powerful and have the economic power it has today if it's not considered one of the smartest countries? So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.